Looking Glass, and if it's already written, why are we bothering to talk about it?
Q was talking about how this is like we're watching a movie. You are watching a movie. Often says that you are watching a movie, and then looking at that 1 hour Looking Glass documentary, it makes me kind of wonder: are we really literally just discussing? Are we like having a wild arguments and discussing a TV drama that's already been shot and edited? That
and just hasn't been broadcast yet?
Yeah.
That's interesting. We sure waste a lot of time and energy on it.
We do, but you think about, when really great TV shows come out, people do waste a huge amount of time conversing over the characters and what might happen next and what did they mean by that special look, and that's what we do with TV shows and drama, and they are fiction.
Movies. Yeah. I wonder if we're attracted to that type of storyline because that's basically what our whole experience here is. It's just a storyline.
Yeah.
It's and if we didn't want to have that experience, or if we weren't interested in jumping into a fake story, we wouldn't have incarnated. So that makes us the type of souls or people that like that kind of thing.
So I mean, what's the truth then? If all of this is a movie, is the truth too hard to swallow? Which is also another thing that's come out of Q Drops along the way. Is it all done? Is it all finished?
There is some truth to that. That rang true on my truth meter, and I think the answer might be something like, generally speaking, it's finished. Like when the guy was talking about Looking Glass, what they saw, and it coming down to 2 timelines, and then to 1. But different people who had different intent and thoughts would see slightly different details.
Particularly with the yellow cube.
Exactly, the yellow cube. But in the final end, the grand picture of things is the Great Awakening, not the Great Destruction.
Yes, yeah. We're on the good timeline where there's a happy ending. We know that for sure. We've outsmarted them. And when I say we're talking white hats. We're talking about people who have divinity on their side, I think is probably. In the Pleiadian workbook, when I was reading a bit of it this morning, it says, if you come across any entities that come into your dreams or your consciousness along the way, ask, are you of the light? And she said, you ask 3 times.
That's classic.
It's universal, and they cannot lie to you 3 times. They're not allowed to.
Right. I've heard that a long time ago. When I first heard it, I thought it just seemed like it was too gimmicky. How is it you can do it? You can lie twice, but you can't lie 3 times. Who made up that number?
Yeah.
It's sort of like that new age fluffy stuff kind of thing. Just ask. If you just do it 3 times, then they can't lie to you. It's just to me. I always just thought that was just a little too cute and gimmicky. I don't know.
Yeah. But if you do it even with people that you think are lying to you, you can see them dissolving in front of you by the time you say the 3rd time you ask them the 3rd time. They either have a big fit, or their eyes are off, like they can't look you in the eye, or...
What I've done is, if I ask somebody a question and they tend to be a liar, I'll say mentally in my head, truth, as a command. And I have occasionally said it out loud. But if you have somebody who's a habitual liar and denies it, and is a nice little narcissist like one of my husbands, if I had actually said that, if I actually said that out loud to him,
it'd have a fit.
If I'd said truth, what do you mean truth? Very bombastic, big guy with a big chest. So, at one point he was getting really embarrassed about something, really ashamed. And so he was doing this huge strategy to avoid it. And I just said, are you feeling any embarrassment or shame under that? And it was like, not everything's about shame, Sarah! I was like, alrighty then, I guess I'm right.
Yes,
exactly. It was like leaning forward and very loud.
Yeah.
That would be a yes answer for me.
Yeah, my ex as well, underestimating his income by about 90%. And as soon as he looked like he was going to get caught, he just went ballistic and was threatening and all the rest. And you just looking like, wow, look at that. You just got to make sure that it doesn't affect you, or you're not actually going to get physically punched, of course, so you keep out of the way. But they go nuts when they know that they're about to get caught.
I know someone who's still trying to finish it. The divorce is finished, but he won't pay her the money he's supposed to pay her. And years, and he was worse than my husband. I mean, horrid narcissist, and totally gaslighting her for years. And he will just say, any little thing he'll lie about. I paid that tax thing, and then you bring a tax lawyer, and no, it hasn't been paid. Yes, it is. No, it hasn't. Yes, it is.
So it's like lying to yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there something in that, lying to yourself? It's not that people that lie to other people, sometimes they know they're lying, but other times you look at them and they honestly believe what they're saying. Exactly. They are lying to themselves.
Yeah. Some people are very good at that. Yeah. I mean, I remember the time I was doing my own inner work, and I'd always sort of held on to this, it's important for me to be honest, to be truthful, to be in integrity, right? That's a good spiritual thing to be. And I did some inner work where I kind of like went, wow, I'm a really good manipulator. Because I can say things that are perfectly truthful in the words. You know how that is, each word in the sentence is technically the truth. Oh, sorry about that. But isn't actually the truth, right? And once I owned that up, the next time my husband blatantly lied to me, I saw it like clear 100%. He was like, oh, you pay for this for me and I'll pay you back. And historically, I would have done it and then he would have said, no, I didn't say that. Right. No, or, well, I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't bug me. I'm busy. I'll do it. Something like that. And never do it, of course. And this time I just realized, oh my God, bastard is white, straight into my face, lying. And he knows it.
Did you call him?
And I can't remember what happened there, but I mean, it was so ridiculous. He was constantly going, oh, you pay for it and I'll pay you back. Because there were certain things we agreed in the household, he'd pay these, I'd pay these. The sinks backed up, the whole plumbing, the whole kitchen sink.
What does that tell you?
My kid. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
And literally for 3 months, I raised 3 little kids with no kitchen sink. Because I just said, I'm not going to go fix this. This is his. And he wouldn't do it. I mean,
it's like a teenager you're trying to get to do the dishes.
Yeah.
No. Too busy. Oh, I've got to go out now. Oh, I'm feeling so tired. I've come home. All of those stories. Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
I think, I put up on my Facebook this morning, the latest Q post, which is repeat of stuff that we've seen before about they want you divided. 90% of the media is instructed by somebody, but who? And I just put them as screenshots because, memes are dangerous. So the Google tells me, when I actually saw him live, he came to visit Australia, which was rather funny. But I, rather than saying anything about media or the impeachment or anything about division, I said, your spirit, and part of your spiritual development is to learn discernment but also to be able to front up and see when you have a belief that is incorrect. It's proven wrong. You've had the facts have come through and now you really do see that that's not correct. To be able to go, I got that wrong. I thought I had it right and I had it wrong. That might have been something you've learned over the last 3 years, or it might be something that you learned as a child. I thought I could trust these people and I cannot. And you've got to be able to find a way around that. Sometimes that's really challenging.
I still remember when I was getting some therapy and stuff came up about my dad and some types of abuse. And he actually agreed to go in and see the therapist with me, but he played his Teflon Man game, which was, I know that didn't happen. That didn't happen. No, I didn't feel that way. I felt that way toward my girlfriend's daughter. No, I didn't feel that way towards you. And no, I mean, my psychic told me that this is past life stuff for you that's coming up, and you just think it's me. But then he finally just said, I know I've not been a good dad to you. I just haven't been a good dad. And, and then the therapist is kind of saying, now, Richard, don't have to feel that bad. And I'm like,
yes, you do.
He gets to, this is his thing. He's worked you. I was like, ah. But at one point, not while he was there, but later on, she said, I talked to her about it, and she said, I caught that on myself. I realized I did that. Sorry about that. I'm glad you caught it too. But
didn't do anything about it though.
No, it was later, and then he didn't come into any more sessions. But what she said was, you can trust that your dad will act a certain way. You can trust him. You know that if you leave him in a room alone with your child, he'll do something to hurt them. Like when my oldest was not crawling yet, so 7-8 months old, and my dad was visiting. We had one of those kind of big rubbery balls, and he was sitting outside on the ground, and I was rolling the ball to him, and he was sitting with his legs spread so the ball would come in, and they'd go and push it back. And I never left my dad alone with any of my kids ever. And the phone rang. So I went in, grabbed the phone, and then returned to go right away and stand at the doorway and watch him outside. And while in that amount of time, he'd taken the ball and gone boom and hit my kid in the face and made him cry.
Oh, wow.
He goes, oh, I thought he'd catch it.
Oh, my goodness.
That was my dad. And what else? I mean, he would teach me to ride a bike.
So he did the same with you?
Oh, yeah, totally, all the time. I promise I won't let go. I won't let go. And then he lets go. And then I don't know how to turn, and I crash into a fence, and he laughed. That was his total pattern over and over and over again.
Holy cow.
So
these kind of things, yeah, they are violence. They're violence against a child, and then you saw it against your own children as well. That carries
just that once,
patterns.
because I never left him alone afterwards.
No.
I was really careful.
Yeah, they're a pattern that you hang on to. They affect the rest of you, don't they? They must sit. They sit in your aura, or they sit in your energetic body? I don't know. Would you know more about that?
I would say, I've done a lot of work on all of this stuff that happened with him, and I ended up I love my dad. I liked my dad. I enjoyed spending time with my dad. I just knew who he was. I trusted he would do this. And so I just never allowed that situation. That way I could still have a relationship with him, and he could have a relationship with the kids, and we could have Easter and Christmas and all the fun stuff. So
it never resolves though, does it? I mean, it's self-preservation and preservation of your children, but it never resolves. How do we ever get
how would you suggest resolving it?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that, because they have to at some point front up to themselves, the same as what we were just talking about before of people that lie to themselves. At some point they have to be able to see what they're doing is harming the other person, and ask themselves why they do that.
Why? No, they don't. Why do they have to do that?
As if they want to evolve, if they want to go through, if self-development comes along and slaps them in the face, as it tends to do. As you know. Yes.
And I trust that karma, or his own soul's growth at some point will, he'll have a realization, maybe in his afterlife review or something like that, whatever. But there was no reason for me to take on that job. It would have been nobody's failure.
You can't force them to look at it when they're not ready. Just the same as the political conversation we had in the last conversation,
And what's really surprised me is that my sister had a much more difficult relationship with him than I did. I actually was a little bit closer to my dad. I was more his favorite, and she was really close to my mom and her favorite, definitely. It wasn't such a good thing to be his favorite, though. But she would leave him with her kids and always be surprised. And I talked to her about it. And then, another time her kids were 7 and 8. maybe. And he said, I'm just going to grab a couple of things in the grocery store. And they gave him a couple quarters to ride one of those stupid little horsey things, And then he went into the grocery store, got distracted, was doing a bunch of stuff, went out a different door, went to some other stores, and left them there, terrified. And he said, stay here, don't leave. And he was gone for like over an hour.
Oh,
and they were really frightened. She was, I can't believe he did that. I'm like, of course he did that. Don't you know this person? But she didn't. She actually doesn't remember a whole lot of what happened, which is, maybe I think it's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, to the point that I was probably 11, and so she would be 12 and a half, starting to develop, getting self-conscious about that. And we went to one of our very rare weekends at his house, like maybe 6 times a year we did that, unless he forgot and didn't show up to pick us up. But you know that one, right?
Yeah.
But we were going to go swimming at his house, but we'd forgotten to bring swimming suits. And so he took us to buy swimsuits. And we're in the store, and the lady's helping us, we're buying swimsuits for my daughter. And at some point she holds one up, and he goes, rubs over the front of her chest. He goes, oh, I don't think she needs that yet. And I walked to the other side of it was a fairly big store, stayed where I could still see them. But then he said, come on, Sarah. I said, no, I don't want to go swimming.
Yeah.
And she has no memory of that.
Right.
I mean, I just literally walked out of the room, out of the, just like, oh, get me around that.
Yeah.
She says, no, I don't remember that.
Doesn't remember.
I think it's with soul age and also personality type, that it can be, some people, it's easier to see things that create cognitive dissonance than others. And I'm not sure why that is. I mean, when Trump got elected, for instance, I was a grand old Trump hater.
That's what we were taught.
Yeah. I was like, oh, how can people watch that You're Fired, whatever it is, show and all that? It was like, oh God, he's so wretched. I can't stand the sound of his voice or the way he looks, and you were pretty much like that too.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
But
who on earth would vote? How does anybody vote for this person?
Yes, exactly. But, other things have come to light, and we both are willing to change. Our worldview got upset, but we were able to make the change. And I'm not sure what's the difference. I'm not really sure what it is that makes some people be able to do that and others not.
It just must be the stage that they're at in their personal development, because you do it in different ways on many different subjects. Some things you'll open up to and other things you just won't.
No, that's not true. I'm leaving.
And with that, your image has disappeared.
My phone I gotta plug in my phone. Oh God. Oh shoot, I need the adapter. That's pretty funny.